Okay, so I know what you're thinking. You know, kale. What am I going to do with this? It looks like a genital war tree humping type person's food, but it's actually really, really good if you know how to prepare it. So basically, the main things to know is you have this leafy section here, and then you have kind of this spine or rib in the back, and you don't want any of this. So all you got to do is you just got to start tearing the leaves away from the spine there. Okay, and I've already done this to a bunch of them. So at the end, you're gonna have a whole lot of this grassy horse, rabbit food stuff, you know, available for cooking. So after you get all that chopped up, you're gonna wanna take your pretty little pan, put it on high heat, hit it with a little bit of EVOO, or extra virgin olive oil, for those of you that don't know anything about cooking. And then, normally, I sit there and I'm going to chop up all the garlic by hand. Today, I'm incredibly lazy. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use some pre-minced garlic and olive oil. Throw some of that in the pan. Wait for it to get a little bit hot. So basically, when you're looking at these leaves, you know, they're really plumped up and they have a lot of moisture in them. So it's kind of like spinach or some other, you know, bitter greens where they're going to collapse a lot. So once this stuff heats up, we're going to put a lot of this in the pan and it's going to break down to not very much at all. So if I had to describe like the flavor of it at the end, is basically like a mix between maybe Brussels sprouts or spinach or something like that. So the whole goal is to draw the moisture out, and that's why we don't need to add any liquid or anything else like that besides oil. So that's starting to heat up. I use my rubber spatula for everything. Kind of hear it going, so just break it up a little bit. So that's going to kind of flavor the oil. And I like to take some freshly ground black pepper, put it in at this time, kind of releases a little bit of extra flavor. So all of that's heating up, and smell it. It smells great. So we're going to take all of our kale, stuff it in the pan, and kind of move it around and make sure that that oil is getting on everything. And it looks like a lot, but this is going to, like spinach, going to condense down a lot. Okay, so we're going to work with that for a while. Okay, so you can already see it starting to break down a little bit. It's starting to get that bright green color that a lot of greens get when you cook them. So at this point, I like to start adding a little bit of kosher salt to the whole thing. Kind of helps draw out a little bit more moisture. I like to use a lot of salt, just the way I am. And keep mixing that around, let it break down even more. If you're fancy, you can even flip it in the pan, don't even need anything else. Okay, so around this point, I'll add a little bit of balsamic vinegar. This thing's got a cool little spray little top here, so I'll just add a couple sprays. And I know what you're thinking, why would you want to put vinegar in something? It smells like feet, smells gross, doesn't even taste good, but trust me, it makes this taste a lot better at the end. Because the greens by themselves are kind of a little bit bitter and kind of plain. So even with salt, just kind of isn't that great. So if you add a little bit of vinegar to it, add some acidity to it, kind of makes the flavor more complex. So that's pretty much all I like to take them to this point. And you can see they're starting to break down, and they're a lot softer. They're not going to be super soft like spinach. They're going to be a little bit more like a Brussels sprout maybe. And that's it.